I'm Aaron Sagers, and this is Talking Strange. Hey there, spooky nerds. I have one question for you. Are you ready to hear from the lead singer for objectively the greatest rock and roll band in the world? Welcome back to Talking Strange, a paranormal pop culture show. I'm your host, Aaron Sagers, and today we're talking to Eric Nally, the front man for Foxy Shazam. Now, Foxy Shazam, they've been around, they've been on the scene for 21 years, but they have been having a wild summer. In fact, director James Gunn is the one who called them objectively the greatest rock and roll band in the world, and he must believe it because he used their song "Oh Lord" for the theme, the opening credits dance sequence of Peacemaker Season 2. And if you're sleeping on Peacemaker, wake up, go check it out. It's a great show. Plus, James Gunn used Foxy Shazam along with Lou Lou Safran for the Mighty Crabjoys theme song on the Superman soundtrack from this summer. The Mighty Crabjoys are the fictional DC Universe band, and yeah, Foxy Shazam helped give them life with that theme song. Plus, Foxy Shazam released 2 studio albums in 2025, including Animality Opera in March and their 10th album, Box of Magic, which just came out in October. Now, just a little bit more about Foxy Shazam. They released their debut album, The Flamingo Trigger, in 2005. And this band's blend of glam rock and pop rock and indie rock, all of it, along with the very kinetic stage presence of Eric Nally, who has some pipes on him. He has these Freddie Mercury-esque vocals as well as theatricality. He's known to eat cigarettes on stage. This guy is incredibly talented and just incredible to talk to as well. And after their debut album in 2005, they had another album in 2008. They toured with The Strokes and Panic at the Disco. And then they had another album called Foxy Shazam, which came out in 2010, self-titled album, and that's where we get the song "Oh Lord." They were on Spin's list of 10 bands you need to know, and they had comparisons made to them to Queen, Meatloaf, My Chemical Romance, The Darkness, and they even appeared on the Super Bowl telecast. So the band, and just as a side note, if you know the song Downtown by Macklemore, Eric Nally is the one who steals the show in both the song and in the video of the song. In the video, he rides in bare-chested on this chrome eagle chariot led by motorcycles. It's wild, and also stole the show at the 2015 MTV Music Awards. Anyhow, Foxy Shazam, as I said, is back with their 9th album earlier this year and 10th album out in October, Box of Magic, and they are on tour right now. So I was excited to talk to Eric Nally about Foxy Shazam and about being the objectively the best, the greatest rock and roll band in the world, according to director James Gunn. And I happen to really like James Gunn. So Eric is going to chat with us and also tell us some ghost stories. Tell us about some weird stuff that involves some ghosts out of Cincinnati, as well as strange occurrences at Bobby Mackey's. All right, let's dive in. Eric Nally, frontman for Foxy Shazam. All right, Eric Nally of Foxy Shazam, thanks so much for talking with me today. I'm really excited because, I mean, I know I'm not the first person to tell you this, but ever since I discovered your guys' music, I'm in it. I'm like,
Oh, that's
sucked
awesome.
in. Yeah. Uh,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for having me. I've been excited to talk to you for a while now, so I'm glad we finally got the chance to come together and yeah,
yeah. And
new music is happening. Everything's exciting.
it's, yeah, I know that's like, maybe I know we've been playing some phone tag, but that worked out in a way because now Box of Music, your is it your ninth studio album?
10th.
10th is
Yep.
out now. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess the first question I have for you is how would you define the state of the band? What is the state of Foxy Shazam after this huge summer? I mean, you already in the spring you released your ninth album, Animality Opera, and then we have, of course, this summer of Superman with you doing the Mighty Crabjoy song with Lou Lou Safran, and then of course Peacemaker using "Oh Lord" as the theme song. So all of that taken, a lot happening
hmm
in a few short months. How would you define the state of Foxy Shazam right now?
I would say that we are primed, it's like it feels like we have so much energy and it's like what James, the amount of eyes and ears, the new listeners and everything has just been so awesome. And like the thing about Foxy is we always kind of just we do our thing and regardless of how many people are watching. But when there are a lot of people watching, that's very that's awesome, and that's seems like that's happening now. So I think we feel ready. We feel like we've always been ready and prepared and inspired. I think that's a big thing too, is just inspired and ready to go.
Yeah, I think for people that may just see the opening credits of Peacemaker and then discover the rest of your music, you seem maybe like this new act, this new band, but you've logged a lot of time. We're looking at 21 years of the band being out there, and I know you took a little bit of break and then kind of came back stronger than
Mhm.
ever. But so you're used to the hustle, and you're used to
Yeah,
and having like these moments of highs and then just continuing with the hustle throughout. But
yeah,
still, when you have the kind of attention from like, James Gunn and this show, Peacemaker in
mhm.
particular, what do you do with that? Because it's a great thing. It can also, it would seem to me like when you get that kind of high praise, it can be a little bit intimidating. And then there's even the temptation to get too excited about the boost you might receive, which I personally I've had those career moments where I'm like, oh wow, this is going to bring a lot of attention on me. But wait, hold on, because we don't know how it'll actually turn out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot
Yeah,
going on when you receive this kind of immediate high praise and attention.
yeah. I think like that that kind of it taps back to kind of what I was saying about being prepared, and I mean that in a way of just having a little bit of um like like I said, we kind of always have done this, so I feel steady, and kind of like unwavered and very grateful and appreciative, but at the same time focused and steady and kind of I'm in familiar territory and I was feeling ready. I wait. I don't wait, but I welcome things like this, and embrace it in a way that I think doesn't shake me or the band or anything. It kind of like you know throws fuel on the fire, and if it's genuine, it's like that's the things that really do something and really matter to me is like this relationship, all this stuff has come, all this great work and beautiful art and the marriage of, cinema and or film and music and James does an amazing job with that regardless of if Foxy's involved. Like he's just a great person that makes those things, those connections, and like the relationship that me and him have is a genuine one and an authentic one, and I think that yields the kind of relationship that feels natural and kind of like exciting in a way. So yeah, that's kind of how I just feel good about it all, and like ready for it.
Yeah. It, as I said, the band has been around since 2001, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
in that time, you're looking at sort of an era of the music industry before the rise of social media, and then the crest of, early social media to sort of what it is now. I mean, there's been
Hmm.
so many different ways of like how to break through, how to get attention, whether anyone gets attention, whether it's this
Yeah.
evolving beast, and I personally I don't even know what it is anymore.
Yeah.
So when you're looking back at your career, when you're looking at where you're at right now, how how do you think an act does get attention anymore? Because you could be putting out the best product, and I hate to call it product, but the best music, best art in the world, and yet still nobody might discover it, you know? So,
Hmm.
how does
I
how has that
think,
changed? How does a person get it out there now?
yeah. Well, I think that there's this veil that social media creates, and the veil is that everything works or is successful in a certain way according to the algorithm, according to numbers, according to trends. But and I was everybody is kind of hypnotized by that. It's a it's natural for us to we crave certain things, and those give us certain good feelings to see stuff. It's a good way to connect with people. There's good things about it too, but I think essentially for a creative thing, for an artist, um, what I have felt is that when I like there's a gravity and a reality to doing something that you feel good about,
Hmm.
and that doesn't you that is so afflicted by everything that's going on out there. If you shut that off or kind of like pull the veil away or put your phone down for, and create from a space of like pretending that doesn't exist.
Hmm.
And then there's a when you fall into that space and you create from that space, you start to feel something that is very uh it's just it can be anything. It's something different for everybody, but it's authentic to you, and you can cultivate that and build from that. And the thing that makes social media successful is in that, like
Hmm.
don't worry about that. Don't forget about that. If you do something successful for yourself in the moment alone, just theoretically, if you're creating a painting or a music or a show or writing a show or making a movie or anything, any form of life, like I just think if you shut out what everything is telling you or kind of like uh you're able to kind of get ahead of it, and not be so affected or
Yeah.
absorbed by it and kind of blinded by it at the same time, you know.
I was thinking like I don't know that I, it's my observation that just having a song in a movie or TV show anymore doesn't grant attention. It might get some extra eyeballs on someone's work, but it doesn't grant like large scale attention and kind of maybe we've had those moments where, okay, a song is in a Volkswagen commercial and then it notices, it sort of reaches that pop culture kind of saturation point.
Mhm.
But something that I've appreciated for a long time with James Gunn is a true love of music and truly a filmmaker that is selecting the music to help propel his narrative. Through, when you're considering other collaborations you've had, does it feel like there's a different kind of usage of music in his work? Yeah, as opposed to other stuff that's out there. Not just that we need a jaunty song, let's throw it here, but actually
Yeah.
a little bit more thought about the selection process.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's it really, is that the creative decisions are intentional and they support the story in a way that is different. James has a way about his music selection that is different, and that sets him apart from other directors. I think other directors have their own thing, and if you're, in my opinion, if you're a if you're a good director or creator, you're intentional about all your decisions that you're making, and like James is an intentional artist, and he has a like a passion for music in a in a in like a cool lane, like he likes, you know, because a lot of movies, cinematic stuff, you think scores, and that is definitely a really awesome approach, and that's a really cool thing too. And I know he's done that before as well, but I like how he pulls from culture and like from different genres, and you know it creates a mood and like a little playlist of sort, and it feels like really relatable. It makes like it really helps to relate to certain things. Like I remember Guardians of the Galaxy really got me with that Walkman, that little Walkman that he listens to.
Yeah.
Like I fucking love that. And it's just, I mean, it got me in so many ways, but like that's kind of the first thing I was like, whoa, that's unique, and I relate and I love it. And um to be a part of that world, and to be able to be you, like have James include us in that realm of his creation is like, it's an honor, and it feels like um a really, a person I look up to, an artist I look up to, giving me some support and some reassurance, because like I said, we're out here doing it and we're gonna do it. That's what I was born to do. And he knows that. And that's, I know that he is born to do something. And and all the artists out there, every great artist I meet, big or small, it's like we're all just the social media, going back to that social media thing that kind of like separates everybody. But at the heart of it, like we all care about the same thing, and it's hopefully, and you know,
Yeah. I was actually familiar with Oh Lord before Peacemaker, and I think the music video for it, I happen to really enjoy. I think it's a great music video. I think it's a very tight song. Um,
thank you.
did it initially make sense for you that he wanted to use it in that way in the opening credits, and then I know, of course, spoiler, that you then perform it live in the finale. But did that one make sense
Hmm.
for you, or was there any sense of like, this one might be better for this purpose, or why don't you give this one a go, or I could write something new that's not already kind of going to be on an album, anything like that?
No, because I trust James's judgment. I appreciate and value working with someone on his level, and collaboration is trusting. It's suggesting if you have any ideas, but like I I have trying to learn to collaborate with people in a way of going with the flow, and noticing how that yields good results, and people have good ideas and trusting that. Like I think I yeah, I just trust James, really. That's kind of the easy way to say that.
Your voice, this operatic voice that can really, and I know you get a lot of the comparisons, but Freddie Mercury or
Hmm.
Justin Hawkins of the Darkness, who I know you've collaborated with,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and it's an incredible voice. And the lyrics, though,
Thank you.
are there's almost like something about it that, if you took out your voice and you were just reading some of these lyrics, there is this storytelling element to it that for me it was like it's almost like Tom Waits-esque at times. And
Oh, cool.
I was curious, and that's my interpretation. Please shoot me down. But I was curious, like, how would your voice? We know it. It's
Hmm.
a great signature voice, but how would you define sort of the storytelling vibes, like what you're wanting to bring to the table with your music?
I Imagination is like one of the funnest things in writing a song to me. So I imagine stories that like kind of like that you suggesting. And it doesn't have to be about me. It doesn't have to be. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Um, and the wilder and crazier I can get comprehensively and make it make sense, the funner it is for me. And like I I love poetry. I love Leonard Cohen. Like I love to listen to the artists that use their words in a way that's their own and kind of like telling something so at the core of everything. I really like that. I really like finding something so simple to sing about that everybody can just somehow feel it and they don't maybe not even know why. And that's something I strive for and I will always strive for. It's never something you obtain. I think it's something that you kind of have to not be able to get, and it's always just quite out of reach. But you can taste it, and you're gonna keep going for it. And like lyrically, when that merges with the music to kind of tell a story and tell feelings, and it lines up, that's really powerful to me, and very it informs the melody and the vocal and the performance. It informs the character.
How would you say, I know you're from Cincinnati, you still live in Cincinnati,
Yep.
and how would you say Cincinnati, also home to the Afghan Wigs, but
Yeah.
how would Cincinnati play into, is it imbued in your music, or how is Cincinnati as a music town? I mean, like,
Yeah.
kind of where do
I
you
would
track the Cincinnati of it all?
I would say that we're the bizarreness and the randomness and the modesty. There's a weird modesty to like the way I'm able to get away with being so confident. It's this weird modest twist. And I can't explain it, but when I'm on stage, like I'm not uh yeah, it's a there's a character that's just kind of modestly entertaining. And by modest I mean or maybe polite. Polite's a better word, not modest, polite. It's a polite entertainment that feels uh like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but the city of Cincinnati has this Midwest charm that I don't really get anywhere else. And I've toured a lot and seen all, been to all the states, and I feel like there's something about Cincinnati that is like overlooked, underdog, and yeah, something like that.
Is it a little bit of when you're coming from like a true place, but you're also trying to be polite or nice? There's kind of like you're able to embrace your weirdness a little bit more, but also project that weirdness out there and know you're kind of doing it in a polite and nice community. Is
Yeah,
that kind of what it is?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way. That's you said that pretty well, and I think yeah, it's also being able to kind of like New York and LA, like I love those cities. I love going there and working from there sometimes and doing stuff, but there's so much art from there and great art, but Ohio feels a little bit more like off the map, even though it's kind of in the heart of United States and there's something geographically that I think translates to where our music comes from and stuff.
Hmm. Okay. Um, with uh, with Box of Magic out, I mean, again, Animality Opera came out in the spring. So, what's sort of the juxtaposition between the new album, Box of Magic, and you know, and it's impressive to be turning out two albums in one year. I
Yeah.
juxtapose that with Animality Opera.
hmm Well, Animality was kind of like a raw, unfiltered burst of energy that we captured without um like without letting anything get in our way. And I think like because a lot of things can get in your way when you're making music, like budget or time or your own self, your own thinking of like what should I do or what is this right or is this wrong? We kind of did that album with like throw everything out the window rule book. What and that's like Foxy. The Foxy thing to do is like people can expect the unexpected with us. I think that's something we've earned a little bit. Usually that's pretty polarizing for an audience. They don't like when bands change it up so much. And I think there's like some kind of thread that goes through it all for us that is very starting to become more and more apparent the more records we do is that as different as they may be, there's this kind of the thing that's similar about them is that they're not similar, and that's starting to become apparent the more records we have, and you're kind of able to look at our career. Um, so like the fearlessness of just showing both sides of ourselves was was something I don't feel like anybody's ever really been able to get in one year with us.
Hmm.
That like they get it from we do, albums every 2 years or something throughout our career, but this was the first year I was like, let's give people two examples of Foxy Shazam so they can see that there in contrast and let them know that we can do that, we can do this and everything in between. And like to separate them in a way creatively intentionally separate those two vibes to show people and let them get that listen listen back to back kind of thing where and I think Box of Magic was something we invested a lot of our money into, went to LA, paid for a studio, the real deal studio. East to West was where they did Thriller, they did Pet Sounds, they've done so many timeless records. And to be a band that can do that and to be a band that can also do it with Animality on the other hand, we did it in my basement in my studio right here. And
Hmm.
we just, you know, didn't spend a lot of money other than you know, what we have to work with, which is more than enough, and to try, like I said, to not let any of those things get in your way, not be like, oh, I don't have a good studio, I can't make a record. Like you do have everything you need and a band that can do that as well, you know, is a powerful thing, I think, in this day and age, and just to let our audience experience that and let them know that I'm going to move forward into the years to come to and just keep thinking of interesting ways to make records, like different dynamics I can show people that we do and different. working relationships, collaborating with great artists to make these things that are like, what? They even surprise me. I don't know this is coming. Like, I mean, like I said, I'm ready for it, but when people like James Gunn or Macklemore, they come to me, they're like angels. I don't, it's like they just, and we make something beautiful and I keep going and I don't know. It's
Was
great.
that a intentional releasing two albums same year, showing like the diversity, the range that you can
Hmm.
cover? Was that an intentional strategy of, okay, we're gonna have like, these potentially two big moments because you didn't know at the time how big it would be, but these potentially two big moments.
Hmm.
How do we best capitalize on it? Okay, we're gonna do it by having, something fresh out there and then something else fresh right on the other side of it. Was that an
Hmm.
intentional strategy?
Um, I think like once like we making the records was from a place of that's what feels like we should do. And then the strategy of releasing them, I would say, was thought through. And like I knew, you know, it takes a long time to plan records and we're independent. So it's us doing, it's feeling the rhythm of your career in your life and knowing it and being familiar with it, but also not getting ahead of yourself. You can't be thinking so far ahead that you're missing what's right here. So we didn't miss anything while we were making those records. We were right here. Once we had them, then it was a conversation of being like, well, there's going to be a lot of eyes on us, when this thing hits. So let's yeah, we putting out a record. Like the thing about Box of Magic was there the character of that record was let's write a record to give people to appeal to a mass audience. Let's not let's creatively make a decision to be, friendly, G-rated. That album I don't cuss on, I don't say anything crazy. It's all like positive. It's all like building really good vibes. And life isn't always like that. I get it. But I think that you can create something intentional to stand for that and to inspire people for that and to direct people for that or anything, just to be there for people, to be positive and then you can also embrace something that is a truth. Still, it's always got to be true to me. I don't want to tell any evil lies or anything, but there are things that are darker and beautiful, and still something that might scare people to hear, but it's true, or maybe whatever. It's like I think like those things, like taking an album that appealed to a lot of people and releasing it when a lot of people are watching makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think like yeah, so that was kind of all there is to that.
The On Box of Magic, I really connected with Too Fast to Let Go. I
Yeah,
really digging that song. And
cool.
then the first single, I guess, was Magic. And I I'm curious about a little bit of backstory on that because I mean, like a lot of your music, there's this palpable throwback vibe to it while also remaining like obviously very modern. And but
Hmm.
it itself sounds like a theme song for a show, to
Cool.
me. And
Yeah, yeah.
I also know that Corey Feldman does a cameo on this one, right? On Magic. So,
Oh, that's a you know my name.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But you're
Well,
right. That one does sound like a theme show. It sounds like the opening, like
yeah.
a closed studio audience kind of thing.
It's great. And yeah, with Corey Feldman, just as our story to bringing him on as a cameo, you guys go way back or what was that connection?
Um, it was a creative. Uh, that the song. That's another thing, like where the lyrics led me to. So I was writing a song about the king of pop. and like the persona. That's a persona. And I say the king of pop because it's a persona. And I was writing like kind of a biopic about that, and Corey Feldman um grew up with the king of pop.
Right.
And so I reached out to Corey Feldman respectfully and said, I'm a huge fan of what you do as an artist, but I also know you have this personal connection, and I'm, creatively writing and working on this. It took us a long time to work through that song to be right with the lyrics. I didn't want to say anything. I just that was like a very creative song to kind of pursue as an artist, and I think the idea to have him as a feature was like the cherry on top of this because it connects a personal thing with it, but it also supports a great artist.
With the Mighty Crabjoys in the movie and Superman, which I happen to love, like, there's this reference to it, and then you think it's going to be a one-off joke, and then we hear the actual song in the credits, I believe. So this is a minute and 17-second song or whatever, and
Mhm.
it's my understanding is you wrote it with James Gunn, and then it's Lou Lou Safran and you on vocals, and this is was this a shift for you because you're now kind of playing imaginary. You're creating giving voice to a song that somewhat existed in the DCU, to some
Mhm.
degree, even though Mighty Crabjoys is a new thing. It seemed like is that an interesting creative
Yeah.
challenge and to tell like a story in basically 1 minute. You're in and out with
Mhm.
that song.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, conceptually, I wouldn't speak too much on what because like again, it's James's concept, and I know that there's something there that even I don't really know, but I think what I sense and what I feel as being involved in it is that it's blurring the line between the universe that is DC and the reality that we all live in or something. It kind of feels like I have one foot in our known reality and then another foot in the DC universe, and like I can kind of like be this weird merge of like blur that right where those two things meet. Let's blur it and make something real, like in the way that Foxy exists, and kind of like how does that float into this creation that is a alter ego or something?
It's also you now exist kind of twice in the DC universe. You as the DCU version of you, Foxy Shazam and Eric,
Hmm.
and then also you as the shadow man behind my crap choice. So you kind of exist twice. That's pretty great.
Yeah, yeah. I feel very honored.
Is has there been, if you could say, conversation about like making the leap to the comic book format that Foxy Shazam could have just started playing in the background of various DC adventures?
Yeah, that'd be so good.
um,
Oh man.
and I guess just another James Gunn related question, but you guys are now friends, and I know you're talking, but uh, what would you say you have gleaned? Or like something you've picked up from his musical tastes that has impressed you or kind of like spurred some sort of journey, and then maybe something that you've turned him on to, because that's what friendship is, outside of entertainment industry. Hey, check this out. You check this out. Oh, I didn't know you liked that. That kind of back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
forth, that almost commerce in a way. Is there anything like that where you've influenced him and he's influenced you?
Yeah, let me think. I mean we've he has like un I can't believe his knowledge in music. Like he has so much good music. He sent me some playlist of some really good Swedish artists that have like this. We've talked about how there's something just so tight about it, and like that we just love, and it's like in the drums and the energy of it. But we've talked a lot about, I mean, there's so much stuff, that would inspire the both of us. I've sent him this video. There's YouTube videos we share. I can't really think of anything specific,
Hmm.
but it all is great inspiration and fuel.
And so what's next with Foxy Shazam? I know you've got, multiple tour dates coming up here in the winter or well, December time. And
Yeah,
so yeah, so you guys are hitting the road. What else is going on with you? And then Box
yeah,
of Magic is out now.
yep. Box of Magic came out a couple 2 weeks ago now, and we have two shows on the books in New York and Philadelphia on December 1st and 2nd. And then we're hitting the road with Water Parks, um, which is I believe, I don't know where they're from. I think they're from the West Coast somewhere, maybe Houston or something. But uh, that should be really awesome because they're a cool band, and looking forward to playing in front of some new people on that one. And then for next year, I can't give anything away yet, but there's some really awesome stuff going on that I think um, keeps it all going.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was going to ask about more collaborations with the DCU, but I mean, I'll ask, but I assume you can't answer it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because there's stuff all over the place yeah, I kind of let that stuff come into, yeah, I can't answer
Yeah. Well, okay,
that.
I'll end with this one because as we were talking before we hit record on this, I love spooky stuff, and also as we're
Yeah.
talking, we're just 2 days out from Halloween. So any kind of, especially because you've lived most of your life in Cincinnati, all of your life in
Hmm.
Cincinnati, is there any good urban legends, creepy old houses or ghost stories or anything that you grew up with that's just kind of part of your DNA?
Yeah. Well, you probably have heard of this, but there's a place. So Cincinnati and Kentucky are like literally right next to it. You can throw a stone to Kentucky. It's just separated by the river. So there's an old honky tonk bar called Bobby Mackey's that is right across the river. We actually filmed a music video there, and it's called Dancing with My Demons, and it was on Heart Behead You album from, I don't think it was 2023 or 22. We released that one, but we did our music video there, and this place is supposedly like the gateway to hell is underneath it or something. But it's on the Licking River, which is the only other river besides the Nile that flows north. Um, and it it had this vibe to it that I can't explain it, but when we did the video, it felt like time went away, and then we got done, and it was like, did we do the video? It was the weirdest feeling. I can't explain it, but it was like blacking out a little bit, and then the video was done. And they've since wrecked it, and they I think they unfortunately, I don't know why, but it was definitely an institution, and Bobby Mackey himself kind of like approved of our band and let us be there. And I got to go see him perform while, before we filmed there. I was invited to see him, and that was another thing when I went there that night and saw him play. And it just felt like I was like, is that really a guy? Like, is he really here?
Uh, yeah, no, that's fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
And yeah, it is a notorious spot, sadly been
yeah,
demolished, and they're gonna rebuild the music world or whatever there. But
yeah,
um, yeah, that's wild. Any
yeah.
other was this kind of shared this experience of like, wow, we had this weird time loss thing. Did anybody else experience that?
Within the band and the crew, yeah, yeah. I've never talked about it like publicly, but it was definitely something that I didn't even really you couldn't feel it until in hindsight. Like after we were done, we were like kind of trying to recall if things, and it just didn't couldn't remember really how it was made. And you can watch the video and you're like, well, you had to know what you're doing. Because like, but so that was a really interesting experience, and one that really wasn't harmful. I hope not, but it definitely was paranormal.
When was that video filmed?
I believe it was 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I also love talking to musicians because, like, musicians, athletes, like certain people in the entertainment industry, you kind of are part of this traveling circus and you're spending a
Yeah.
lot of time in different hotels and everything. And then some of those hotels have sort of this notorious reputation. Have you
Hmm.
spent ti time in any one of these other spots where you're just like, all right, something kind of weird or creepy is taking place here?
There was a when I was on tour with Macklemore one time, we were in Albuquerque, and there was a hotel that I don't remember the name of it, but and you kind of have to dig in order to find the stuff because they don't want people freaking out. But there was definitely a lot of uh articles about this place being notoriously haunted, and I remember being in asleep or kind of laying in bed in my hotel room and hearing like somebody down the hall going like it was just like waking up like somebody was moaning, like just really moaning like their stomach hurt or something. And I remember the our 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 um tour manager heard the same thing, and he was like, I thought about like if I hear that one more time, I'm getting up and putting my golf clubs in front of the door or something. But um yeah, that was weird and spine chilling. Like when it's like dead quiet in the middle of the night and then something just pierces the air and you're like, oh, what the that feeling of like just like oh like I remember that feeling, and it was like, and the hotel was obviously old. It was obviously like something else before it was a hotel. And yeah, that was and there's been a couple of those. And I remember like a lot of times out in the desert there's some weird stuff that happens, like I've noticed and which is weird because it seems like some of the cities in the desert are newer, but yeah. Yeah, there's definitely the hotels of, there's
Yeah.
been some cool stuff in that area.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, I've taken up more than your time than anticipated, but I appreciate talking with you. And is there
Yeah,
anything
you
else
too,
that you just
Aaron.
want to touch on before we get out of here?
I think we covered
Okay.
everything really, just other than just like thank you all for listening, and look out for new music.
Right on. And yeah, I'll reach out if you guys are able. Yeah, we'll reach out and maybe meet up or come see the show in December in New York when you come through.
I'd love that, man. Yeah, let me know if you're there, and we'll I'd love to meet you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right, Eric, I'll chat with you soon. I'll keep you posted as all this stuff posts. All right.
Oh, sounds good, Aaron. Thanks,
All
man.
right. Thanks, friend. Talk to you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And that was Eric Nally, lead singer, the frontman for Foxy Shazam. And they're on tour. They've got some dates out there. Check it out. Go see them. I really recommend seeing them live. And you can go listen to their music. They're all over Spotify, all over music streaming services. Box of Magic just came out in October. That's their 10th album. Animality Opera came out in March. And they have a lot of great songs out there. I happen to, obviously, I love the song Oh Lord, which is the opening credits dance sequence song for Peacemaker season 2, but also their song Unstoppable And their whole album, their song "I Like It" from the Church of Rock and Roll is an excellent one. They've got so many just great singles out there. So Eric Nally, Foxy Shazam, do check it out. Support these guys. They've been around for, like I said, 21 years, but they are having a moment. So get on this. Don't miss out. All right, that's it for me. This has been Talking Strange. I'm Aaron Sagers. Until next time, you know what to do. Be kind, stay spooky, and keep it weird.